If you want to make more money, gain more abundance, and lead a life where you don't stress about your finances, then you need to outsmart your broke mindset, right? So, what do you mean by broke mindset? Let's define it. So, when I say broke mindset, what it means is, let's define mindset first. So, mindset just means, you can also say it as a state of consciousness, or you can also say it as your frequency. So, when I say broke mindset, you are essentially looking at your life and you are saying, you are essentially looking at your life and you're saying, I don't have enough. So when you are in the frequency of being broke, or if you're in a state of consciousness of being broke, what that means is, your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, your identity, and your attention all resonates with being broke. What this means is, whenever you go out, whenever you want to buy something, you are essentially having thoughts of being broke. You are saying, can I afford this? Do I have the enough money for afford this? You always feel broke. Whenever you look at your bank statement, or whenever you look at your purse and you don't have enough cash, you are feeling broke, right? And your beliefs resonate with being broke. And your identity, you say yourself that I am broke, right? That is essentially you assigning an identity to yourself. And your attention, you focus too much on being broke, right? You look at the various aspects of your life and you say, I am broke. So that means you're essentially focusing on the lack aspect of your life, rather than looking at the positives of your life. So now that we have understood what is a broke mindset, now let's understand the opposite of it, which is an abundance mindset, or as I call it, the abundance frequency. So when I say, so in abundance frequency, what this essentially means is, you look at your life and you say, I have more than enough, right? So if you say, I have more than enough, well, then what that means is, your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, identity, and attention resonates with being rich, or being prosperous, or you can also say being abundant, right? So the $1,000,000 question over here is, how you can go from feeling broke, and how you can shift yourself from being rich or being abundant, feeling abundant. How do you do that? To understand that, first we need to understand how you create your reality, or how you tune into your desired reality. We need to talk about how essentially manifestation works, so that you can shift from this to this. And one thing I forgot to tell you about is, since the mental plane is a cause and the physical reality is an effect, all of this is what materializes into your physical reality. The circumstances and situations we're experiencing every day is because you are having the state of consciousness which is being broke. You are essentially having poverty consciousness, right? You have the frequency of being broke. You are in the frequency of being broke. You are in the frequency of not having enough. Since you don't have enough in the mental plane, mentally, then that is being reflected in your physical reality, right? So that's why mindset matters. Many people don't think that mindset is important, but it is, because mindset is a cause of everything that's happening in your life, right? Your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, identity, attention determines what you experience in life. The reason you are staying broke is because you're trying to change an effect with an effect. You think that taking more action will lead you to go from this to this, but you're essentially trying to change an effect with an effect, which doesn't make any sense, right? You need to start at the cause. You are broke mentally, and that is why you are broke physically. If you don't have enough money mentally, then you will not have enough money physically, right? So let's talk about how manifestation essentially works. Now, manifestation is nothing but changing your internal state to change your external reality, right? Because whatever you go through in your inner state, in your inner reality, that is what will get reflected in external reality, right? So whenever you are in a wanting mindset, whenever you're in a wanting energy, you emit wanting energy. You say, I want more money, I want more abundance into your life. Whenever you're in the want mode, then the universe sees it and says, okay, this guy is in the want mode, so I will put him in a reality where he keeps wanting more, right? So essentially what we're trying to do here is we are trying to shift from want to have, right? You want a desired reality, but you need to shift to having your desired reality, and in this case having more abundance. And by having more abundance, what I mean is it can be money, it can be relationships, it can be health, it can be anything, right? Abundance is just the feeling of having more than enough. It can be extrapolated to anything. So if you are in the want state, then you are emitting feelings of lack, right? And since emotion is a language of God, and since emotion is the language of the conscious mind, and if you want to change your reality, you need to change how what you feel. Since you're feeling of lack, then that is what getting reflected in your physical reality. So what you need to do is you need to stop waiting for the world to prove that you are rich, that you are abundant, right? You need to stop waiting for the world to prove that you are not what you are. You need to stop waiting for the world to prove that you are rich. You need to stop waiting for physical reality to change. You need to start being rich. You need to start being abundant right at this moment, consistently, for a long period of time, so that physical reality will start to change. There's always a delayed effect. There is there is always a delayed effect between what you're feeling and what you're experiencing in physical reality, right? So let's talk about why is this the case. So this is you, and this is the universe. You say, I want more money, and the universe takes this message, or you can say it as prayer, message, communication, whatever it may be. The universe takes this message and it reflects its back. Now, since it is reflecting back whatever you feel, you keep wanting more money, right? So you need to change the cause, right? You need to change how you feel so that the universe can reflect it back. When you say I want more money, then that means you don't have enough money, you don't have any money. Now since you don't have any money, the universe will reflect you not having any money. And in this case, the whatever the universe reflects back, it will be magnified. So if you are emitting a state of lack, you will be put in a reality where you will emit more lack. The money you already have will vanish. Suddenly unexpected bills may come, any bills may come, and that can affect you in a negative way, and you will want more money than you initially wanted out of the universe, right? So you need to start changing at the cause, right? You can't wait for the universe to prove, to reflect it back in your physical reality if you're not changing at the cause. You need to start feeling abundant, right? Universe is simply a mirror. It only reflects back what you feel. It doesn't care what you want, it only cares about what you feel. You can always say, I want more money. But since you're feeling that you don't have enough money, you don't have enough, since you are in the wanting energy instead of having energy, you will keep wanting more because universe is simply a mirror. It only reflects back. And there is always a delay, right? So when you send a message, the universe doesn't necessarily change your reality in the next day or even 2 days. There's a The universe works in a mysterious way, so there is a time gap between what you communicate to the universe and what gets reflected back, right? So you have been for a long amount of time have been emitting lack, and now you're experiencing lack in your physical reality, and that is a delayed effect. So once you start changing from going from want to going to have, then that will be a delayed process. Now, this is why many people say manifestation doesn't work. I started feeling more abundant thoughts, I started feeling more abundant, but my reality doesn't change. Now, first of all, if you're waiting for physical reality to change, then that means you don't believe that you have enough, right? So that is a contradiction. Second of all, you are not consistent enough in feeling more abundant, right? You need to feel abundant in a consistent basis every day, right? Just feeling abundant for 51% of the day for a long amount of time will result in the universe reflecting it back, and your physical reality can start to change. Now, the rate at which your physical reality can start changing entirely depends on how much of an emotional reaction you can get out of feeling more abundant instead of feeling more lack. And once you start going from wanting to having, then you will get intuitive signals on what you need to do, right? So, like I said, mindset is frequency. All this time you have been in lack frequency. Since you are in the lack frequency, you are getting intuitive signs on what action to take. And what this means is you will take action that does not lead to your desired reality. So this can mean not working, being lazy, not starting that business. Your frequency determines what actions you take, right? Your mind will give signals on what action you need to take based on what frequency you are in. So if you're in the broke frequency, if you're in the lack frequency, then the intuitive signs that you get on what action to take will be the actions that does not lead to your physical reality. I mean your desired reality. I don't know why I'm saying physical. What I'm meaning is the actions that you're taking today will not lead to your desired reality because the frequency you're operating in is in a lack mode, or you can say lack frequency. You are not in the abundance frequency, right? So the $1,000,000 question is how you can start changing your frequency, how you can go from broke mindset to the abundance mindset. And that is very simple actually. I don't know how many steps I'm going to give, but let's see. Now, the first thing I want you to do is first, what I want to do is shift your focus and concentration. What are you focusing in your life? Right? Do you keep focusing on not having enough money, having more bills to pay that you don't have money for, or it can be anything that emanates lack, right? So if you keep focusing, if you keep putting attention on the things of your life where you feel lack, where you feel you don't have enough, what you give attention to will grow into a reality, right? So change your focus, change your attention to where you feel enough, right? So you might have, so in every person's life there will be some sort of abundance that they're not looking at, right? So start focusing on what you have rather than what you don't have, right? So you might have $100 in your purse. Start focusing on $100. Be grateful for that $100. Or you might have at least $1,000 or $2,000 in your bank account. Start feeling grateful for having that amount of money, right? So the one simple way that you can go from wanting to having is start feeling gratitude for the things you already have. You might have a nice piece of clothes in your wardrobe, right? You might have a nice whiteboard like this. You might have a iPhone. Whatever things you have, start feeling grateful about it. Start feeling the abundance that you already have within you or around you, right? And this also applies to what you're focusing on mentally. Do you keep focusing on thoughts that reflect scarcity or lack? Then you need to start changing, right? So let's say you have $100 that you can spend. Start start mentally spending your money, whatever money you have, right? Whenever you go down for a walk or whenever you hang out with your friends, just whenever you walk down the streets, just imagine you spending all that money on various things that you like, right? Because the more you do that, the more you get in the habit of spending without feeling guilt, without feeling shameful, without wondering that can I afford this or cannot afford this, right? So start mentally spending your money and start focusing more on the things that you already have, right? Stop focusing on things that emanate lack. So this can also mean, do you watch content that emanates lack, that emanates your broke mindset? Do you watch the news that keeps telling that inflation is going up, the economy is going down the drain, whatever it may be? Do you watch content that reflects lack or reflects abundance, right? So this applies to anything. This can apply to people as well. Do you hang around with people that promote brokenness, right? Like these people, even though they are broke, they don't take any effort to change. They don't take any effort in trying to change the reality, right? So do you hang around with those people who think that being broke is normal? Because if you think being broke is normal, then that normal will find you. Whatever you find normal in life will find you, right? So if you think that being broke is okay, if you think being broke is cool, or if you start relating with other broke people, then you need to start hanging out with a new set of people, right? Everything you focus in your life will start growing into your new reality, right? Now since you are broke, you have been focusing on all of this that emanates lack. Now if you change on what you focus on or what you give attention to, if you start focusing on things that are more abundant, more prosperous, if you start focusing on more prosperity into your life, then that is what will get reflected in your physical reality. So the first step is shift your focus and concentration from the things that emanate lack to the things that emanate prosperity or abundance. Now most people are living in autopilot. They are like an NPC in a game, right? They're not even aware of what thoughts they are engaging in, what emotions they are engaging in, what belief they have where their attention goes, or anything, right? So in order for you to change your internal state, you need to become aware of what emotions you feel, what thoughts you feel, right? Because most people doesn't have that awareness of what they feel. They can't take an objective view on what daily emotions or what daily thoughts they are promoting within themselves, right? So the best way to be more aware of your internal state, be more aware of your emotions, is to simply meditate for at least 15 to 30 minutes per day, and then you can increase it to at least 1 hour, right? If you meditate consistently for a long period of time, then you will be a master of your reality, because you will not let your external reality fluctuate your internal state. You will have the power, and since your internal state is the cause for your external reality, if you meditate and start being aware of what emotions you feel, what thoughts you engage in, then that gives you the power to shape your reality however you please, right? If you let your external reality fluctuate your emotions, then that means the external reality has power over you. You are its servant, you are not the master. If you want to be the master of your reality, you need to be aware of what emotions you feel and be in control of it. And the best way to do that is to meditate. So start meditating. So if you grew up in a scarcity or a low income household, then you are in a constant state of stress on whether you can spend this money or not, because you have seen your parents in constant stress. So that stress will be reflected back to you as well, right? And you are also in a constant state of stress, even if you can remember it or not. In many scarcity or low income households, parents are always stringent on their children on spending money, right? So since you are in your current reality as well, since you're always stressed, you're always worrying about money, you need to start prioritizing relaxation, right? Because if you have more than enough, then you start feeling more relaxed, joyful, at peace. So you need to prioritize these feelings over feelings that are negative. That means worrisome being, that means emotions like worry, anxiety, fear, right? So since you are in the broke mindset, or you can say scarcity mindset, you're worried, you're stressed, you are anxious, you fear, right? Now you need to go from this to this. Now the best way to do that is ask yourself, what activity does make me more relaxed? So for me, it is reading books. For you, it can be anything, right? So ask yourself, what are the activities that make me feel more relaxed, more joyful, or at peace? And start doing those relaxation activities. Now this is generally hobbies for many people, and many people don't tend to prioritize their hobbies that relax them, because they feel that they cannot be relaxed, they cannot afford to do those hobbies because they need more money, they want more money. But what they don't realize is prioritizing relaxation means you have more abundance in your life, right? If having more abundance in your life makes you more relaxed, more joyful, and at peace, if you start feeling those emotions in the first place, then that will also lead you to more abundance. I have talked this about I have talked about the law of reversibility in my past video as well. I talk about it in all of my videos because that is I like explaining that, right? So start feeling the emotions that you would feel if you are more abundant. That it can mean more relationships, it can mean more money, it can be more health, right? So in the best way you can start feeling those emotions is start prioritizing the activities that make you more relaxed, that make you at peace. This can just be more sleeping, right? If you like to sleep, I mean, my my fiance loves to sleep, right? So if you like to sleep, start sleeping more. If you sleep for only 6 hours a day, sleep for 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day. If that makes you feel more relaxed, more calm, more at ease, or you can start gaming, you can meditate, you can start reading books, you can go out, hang out with friends, whatever it may be, whatever activity that makes you more relaxed, do it. Start doing it. That is how you shift from this to this. That's how you shift from scarcity to abundance. And the final thing I want you to do, start seeing abundance everywhere. So you can start seeing abundance that is around your life, but the best way to go about it and the superior way to go about it is start seeing abundance literally everywhere, right? So it can be either at your workplace, it can be your house, it can be anything. So I am looking out of my window and I see four buildings that are very high, so that is probably millions of dollars. And I see a garden, I see trees, I see some water pumps. I see many things that can easily be converted into millions of dollars, right? So just looking outside of my window, I can see millions of dollars lying around. That is me training myself to see abundance everywhere, right? So how can I feel abundant right now? So I have this whiteboard, I have this marker, I have my electronics, I have a bed. This room alone or this house alone can cost easily more than 600 or even $700,000. That is me seeing abundance in everywhere I look. There is literally abundance everywhere. This planet is filled with abundance. And if you're not seeing it, then that is your own fault. Right? So start seeing abundance everywhere. That is how you train your mind to see more abundance instead of seeing more scarcity in your life. That is how you train your mind. Right? So start seeing abundance everywhere because abundance is everywhere. And if you want to attract more abundance, you need to start seeing more abundance. And if you start seeing for more abundance and if you start feeling more abundant, the universe will give you what you want. And that is more abundance. But it will be in your physical reality, not just mentally. And I will see you in another video.